Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told This podcast.
It's great to be here.
Today, we're diving headfirst into the whirlwind story of Sean Combs.
Yeah, a figure who's been really central to pop culture for decades.
Exactly. And this isn't just a biography. It's an adventure through music, business, and a life lived, well, very much in the spotlight.
Full of twists, turns, and maybe more name changes than anyone else in the business.
Huh. Definitely. Forget the headlines you think you know.
Right. We want to go a bit deeper, explore the forces behind the man who's been Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and now Love.
Our mission is really to connect the dots, try to understand the evolution of this, well, undeniably influential figure.
From his absolute beginnings, that early hustle, right up to the complexities he's facing now.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Late 80s, early 90s. Music's changing fast. Hip-hop is exploding.
And right in the mix is a young, ambitious Sean Combs. He gets an internship at Uptown Records in 1990.
And this wasn't just any internship, was it? He wasn't just making coffee runs.
No, definitely not. He had serious drive. Under Andre Harrell, who was a legend himself, Combs quickly rose to talent director.
That's a fast climb.
Incredibly fast. And you see his eye for talent immediately. His work developing Joe Decci and Mary J. Blige.
Two absolute icons of R&B.
Exactly. He was shaping their sound, their image. You can kind of see the early signs of the mogul he'd become.
And even before the record label's success, he knew how to create a buzz.
Right, those college parties people talk about, apparently drawing close to 1,000 people.
Wow, that tells you something about his, natural ability to promote and connect, even back then.
Absolutely. But that early period also had a really dark moment.
Yeah, this is important to mention. In 1991, he co-promoted an AIDS fundraiser with Heavy D.
At the City College of New York gym, and it was tragically oversold.
Leading to a stampede. 9 people lost their lives.
It's a devastating event, a really sobering reminder of the responsibilities that come with that kind of promotion, even early on.
A heavy shadow over those early successes. So fast forward just a couple of years, 1993. Combs gets fired from Uptown.
Yeah, somewhat abruptly. But he doesn't exactly fade away.
No, quite the opposite. He launches Bad Boy Records.
And this is the pivotal moment, right? Because he brings Christopher Wallace with him.
The Notorious B.I.G.
The man himself, founding Bad Boy with Biggie that just lit a fuse under the entire hip-hop scene.
They got a joint venture deal with Arista Records, which gave them backing.
Right, the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But it was the energy, the sound they created that was revolutionary.
It wasn't just a label, it felt like a movement.
Totally. And success came fast. Biggie became this huge cultural force. Craig Mack had massive hits too.
Flava and Yair.
It's a classic. And the roster just kept growing. Carl Thomas, Faith Evans, 112, Total, Father MC. It was a dynasty in the making.
And behind that sound, the Hitmen, his in-house production team.
Crucial. And their influence went way beyond Bad Boy artists.
Yeah, looking at the list, it's kind of amazing. Joe Decci, Mary J. Blige again, Usher, Lil' Kim, TLC, Mariah Carey.
Boys 2 Second N, SWV, even Aretha Franklin.
Aretha, wow. It shows his range, his ability to work across different styles.
Definitely. He wasn't just sticking to one lane. Now all this is happening against the backdrop of that intense East Coast versus West Coast rivalry.
Right. And Bad Boy, especially as they signed artists like Mace and the Lox, was right in the thick of it.
They faced a lot of criticism, even parodies from Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight over at Death Row Records.
That rivalry really defined mid-90s hip-hop, didn't it? The tension was palpable.
Extremely high stakes. But here's a little known fact, kind of a curveball.
Oh, do tell.
During this exact period, 94, 95, while all that coastal drama was brewing, Sean Combs co-produced several songs on TLC's massive album, Crazy Sexy Cool.
Get out of here, the Waterfalls album.
The very same. It's kind of surprising, right? Given the whole East-West narrative shows things were maybe a bit more complex behind the scenes.
That's fascinating. Okay, so 1996 rolls around, and we get another major evolution.
The arrival of Puff Daddy, the recording artist.
Stepping out from behind the console and into the booth.
Exactly. He'd always been the mastermind, but now he's the face, the voice. And that first single, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down.
Huge. It just dominated the charts. #1 of the Billboard Hot 100, stayed there for weeks.
28 weeks on the chart overall. An incredible debut.
And that was just the warm-up for the album, No Way Out, July 1997.
Originally titled Hell Up in Harlem. Much darker.
But they changed it after Biggie's death earlier that year.
Yeah, his murder just months before the album release cast a huge shadow. No Way Out became this mix of like bravado and mourning.
And the impact was immediate. Straight to #1 on the Billboard 200. Sold over 500,000 copies in the first week.
Insane numbers. And the singles. Just unforgettable.
I'll be missing you. That tribute to Biggie, it wasn't just a song, it was a global event.
The first rap song ever to debut at #1 on the Hot 100. Top charts everywhere for, what, 11 weeks?
It really captured a collective feeling of grief.
Absolutely. But the album kept delivering hits. Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, obviously. It's all about the Benjamins.
I'm anthem.
Been Around the World, Victory. It was just hit after hit.
And then there was that collaboration. Jimmy Page.
Right. For the Godzilla soundtrack in '98. Come With Me. Rock royalty meets hip-hop mogul.
Definitely raised some eyebrows, but it was a big track.
It showed he wasn't afraid to step outside the box. And the industry noticed. No Way Out won the Grammy for Best Rap Album.
Went on to sell 7 million copies. Septuple platinum. Just massive.
Monumental success. But with that level of fame came the backlash, didn't it?
Yeah, the criticism started mounting. People saying he was watering down hip-hop.
Too commercial, too reliant on samples and big guest features.
Using interpolations of older, recognizable hits.
Right. Publications like Billboard, the New York Times, they were echoing these critiques. It tapped into that ongoing debate in hip-hop about, authenticity versus mainstream appeal.
Sampling is fundamental to hip-hop, but the argument was whether he leaned too heavily on it.
Blurring the lines, maybe, between paying homage and just recreating what worked before.
Okay, so we're heading into the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And things get, well, more complicated.
Definitely. Continued success, but also more visible controversy. 1999, the incident with Steve Stout.
The Interscope executive. Over a music video dispute.
Yeah, Combs was charged with assault. It kind of marked a shift. More public legal trouble.
His second album, Forever, still did well, though, right? Dropped that same year.
It did. Hit #2 on the Billboard 200. Showed he still had huge commercial pull despite the drama.
And then 2001, another shift. The name change.
To P. Diddy.
Why P. Diddy?
It felt like maybe an attempt to evolve the persona, move past just Puff Daddy, maybe seem more, mature.
Interesting. And he started acting around that, too. Made Monsters Ball.
Yeah, branching out creatively, trying different things.
Some really unexpected things, actually. He briefly managed Keyless.
He did. And get this, opened for NSYNC on their big 2002 tour.
Wow. From bad boy hip-hop to opening for a boy band.
Yeah.
That's some versatile.
And he signed the pop group Dream to Bad Boy. It showed he was really aiming beyond just hip-hop.
Looking for broader market appeal.
Definitely. And business-wise, he made a big move in 2001, ending the distribution deal with Arista.
Taking Bad Boy more independent.
More control. Which led to the album The Saga Continues, later that year, under the P. Diddy name.
Which also did well, hit #2 again.
Kept the momentum going. But maybe the biggest thing from this era, in terms of pop culture impact.
Has to be Making the Band.
Oh, yeah. That show was huge. MTV, 2002 to 2009.
It gave us Dad Band, Danity Kane, Day 26.
Yeah.
I felt like you were seeing the raw, tough side of the music biz.
It really cemented his image as this demanding, larger-than-life figure. But we also saw another side in 2003.
The New York City Marathon.
Right. Running it, raising $2 million for NYC schools. That was impressive.
He even went on Oprah to talk about it. Finished in, what, just over 4 hours?
4 hours, 18 minutes. Not bad at all. It definitely showed a different dimension.
And he got more involved politically around then, too, with the Vote or Die campaign.
Yeah, trying to mobilize young voters for the 2004 election, using his platform for something different.
Plus, performing at the Super Bowl halftime show in 2004. Peak mainstream visibility.
Absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
Then, 2005, another name adjustment.
Back to Just Diddy.
Said fans were confused by P. Diddy, so Just Diddy it was.
The name changes really are a recurring theme.
It's almost become his trademark. He kept acting to Carlito's Way. Rise to Power, the A Raisin in the Sun revival on Broadway and TV.
Serious dramatic roles. And another big business move, selling half of Bad Boy to Warner Music Group in 2005.
Cashing in, diversifying, maybe. 2005 was a big year for accolades, too.
Hosted the MTV VMAs.
Named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people.
Even got a shout-out in a Brooks and Dunn country song.
See? Cultural ubiquity, though old rivalries could still pop up, like the feud reigniting with 50 Cent over Mace.
Never a dull moment. But he kept the music coming. Press play in 2006.
Debuted at #1, still had that Midas touch on the charts.
And more reality TV. I Want to Work for Diddy on VH1 in 2008.
Plus, guest spots on CSI, Miami. Always finding new ways to stay in the public eye.
He really mastered cross-platform presence, didn't he?
He really did. Okay, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the world of Sean Combs, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Tell Me More Stories Told Us podcast. We've got plenty more stories like this coming your way.
Definitely subscribe. All right, let's move into the 2010s and up to recent times. We see him solidifying that business mogul status even more.
For sure. 2010, he forms the rap supergroup Dream Team.
Still deeply connected in hip-hop. And more acting. Get him to the Greek.
Hilarious cameo. And a guest spot on Entourage. He clearly enjoys playing versions of himself or playing with his image.
And musically, he launched Diddy Dirty Money with Don Richard and Kalina Harper.
Yeah, Last Train to Paris. A different sound, more R&B, electronic vibes. They even performed on American Idol.
Showing that versatility again. He popped up on Hawaii 588, even It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
He seems game for anything. Musically, he dropped mixtapes like Money Making Mitch in 2015, collaborated with Guy Gerber on an electronic album.
And that track, Finna Get Loose, with Pharrell. High energy.
There was talk around then about a No Way Out 2, maybe even retiring from music to focus on acting.
But that didn't quite happen, did it?
Seems like music always pulls him back. He did celebrate the Bad Boy legacy, though, with the 20th anniversary tour and the documentary Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
Which was a great look back at that era. And then the love saga continued.
Yes. Announced he was changing his name to Love in 2017, joked about it, then seemed to make it official again in 2022.
Keeping us all on our toes.
Always. A planned Making the Band revival didn't quite take off. But he stayed influential behind the scenes, like executive producing Burna Boy's album Twice as Tall.
Which won a Grammy. Still got the touch.
In 2022, he hosted the Billboard Music Awards, launched Love Records with Motown, signed Jazzy.
Released At a Move On. Then the Love album. Off the Grid in 2023.
Interestingly, that album was released independently, even after the Motown deal. Suggests wanting full control.
Let's shift gears to the business empire itself. It's staggering.
It really is. Fortune recognized him early. Forbes consistently ranked him as a top earner in hip-hop.
And by 2022, estimated net worth hit $1 billion.
$1 billion, mostly built outside of just record sales. Sean John clothing line was huge.
Won CFDA awards, became a major fashion player, despite some controversies like the fur issue.
Right. Then there were restaurants, designing a jersey for the Mavericks.
And Cîroc vodka. That partnership was incredibly successful for years.
Hugely lucrative. Defined celebrity alcohol branding for a while. That ended in 2023 amidst legal disputes. He also bought Ennis, invested heavily in Revolt TV.
Aquahydrate Water, Play VS Esports. He's always looking at different sectors.
A truly diversified portfolio shows incredible business acumen.
And personally, he's a father of 7.
Yeah.
We've seen his relationships play out publicly with Kimberly Porter, Cassie Ventura, Young Miami.
Lived under intense media scrutiny. And that unique milestone in 2022, he and his son, King Combs, both having #1 hits at the same time.
That's pretty cool. Plus, incredible real estate. A major art collection. Buying that Kerry James Marshall painting for a record price.
Living life on an epic scale. Spiritually, he's talked about believing in God, but not one denomination. And more recently, saying he believes God is a woman.
An evolution in his personal beliefs. And his philanthropy has been consistent over the years.
Daddy's House social program since '95, Hurricane Katrina relief, big donations to schools.
Lots of awards and honors, too. The Hollywood Walk of Fame star, the BET Lifetime Achievement Award, key to New York City.
Though that honorary doctorate from Howard University was rescinded later amid controversy.
Right. We also have to mention the white parties.
Oh, legendary. From '98 to '09, the all-white dress code, the A-list crowds, iconic.
Pure glamour and exclusivity.
Yeah.
But this brings us to the really difficult part of the story. The legal issues and controversies.
Yeah, there's a long history. Landlord issues, the Stout assault, the Club New York shooting incident back in '99.
Sweatshop allegations against Sean John. Various lawsuits over the years.
But the nature of the accusations shifted dramatically in recent years.
Toward allegations of sexual misconduct and abuse.
Starting with a lawsuit in 2017, then Cassie Ventura's lawsuit in November 2023.
That lawsuit contained incredibly disturbing allegations of rape, trafficking, and physical abuse. It was settled very quickly.
Extremely quickly. But it seemed to open the floodgates. More lawsuits followed from other women with similar harrowing claims.
Allegations of sexual assault, revenge porn.
Then the release of that 2016 surveillance video showing him assaulting Ventura in a hotel hallway.
Which was deeply shocking and led to a public apology from him.
And a report surfaced suggesting potentially many more lawsuits could be coming.
All culminating in September 2024. Federal agents raided his homes.
And he was arrested and indicted on federal charges: racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution, extremely serious charges.
He's currently being held in detention in Brooklyn, awaiting trial, which is set for May 2025 right now.
It's a shocking turn, putting his entire career and legacy under an intense, dark cloud. There have also been documentaries released recently about his rise and alleged fall.
And he's filed defamation lawsuits against the producers of those.
No.
It's an ongoing, complex, and very serious situation.
Absolutely.
So it's clear, isn't it? The story of Sean Combs is far from simple. It's this complex tapestry: ambition, innovation, incredible success.
Woven together with significant controversy and now these deeply disturbing allegations and criminal charges.
From shaping music for a generation, building a business empire, to facing these current legal battles, his journey is a really powerful, though turbulent, look at fame, power, and accountability.
We hope this deep dive has given you a more nuanced picture, maybe highlighted some surprising details or connections in his long and complex career.
There's obviously so much more to unpack, and we really encourage you to look deeper into the parts that caught your attention. What stands out most to you after hearing all this? What questions do you still have?
It's definitely a story that leaves you thinking.
You've been listening to Tell Me More Stories Told Us podcast. Thanks for joining us on this exploration.
Join us next time as we unpack another fascinating story.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay curious.